Good evening. How are you? Um, I'm glad that we have this evening to spend together to learn and relearn. So I welcome you to the session. You can just take the next few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, to share this link with people that you'd love to join the session. All right. So we invite your friends and loved ones as I add my presentation. Otherwise, it's been an amazing year with all of us. Yeah, I have really enjoyed and I have learned as well. And I'm hoping that next year is going to be better. I was just thinking and reflecting when I recorded the invite, the video that I was sharing in my platforms to invite people to join the session. I was just thinking the way I said until a later time, because I have been contemplating, should I complete this? Should I pause, not stop? Pause. Yeah, but I'm so glad that today I've had a time to reflect, and I was just thinking I cannot stop. I cannot stop. And to be sincere, it's not easy. It involves a lot of sacrifice to be able to be an advocate for people's mental health and also engage in other activities of life. It is not easy. But I thank God that so far we've managed to Mefika. This is the 12th session. In terms of, I know July we didn't have a session because issues of life. But there's a special edition that I did. And by the way, all these sessions have been recorded. I have every session. From May, they're here in YouTube. But then from January to now May, I have them as a link that I have stored elsewhere. So in case you're interested to have the other sessions or even to just catch up with all the sessions, you can feel free to request me and I'm going to share. Then this year we have been talking about self-awareness. So all the sessions have been on self-awareness, they've been on personality, they've been on personality disorders, been on the concept of self-awareness. And last month in November, idea, sort of is a recap session we had. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continue doing this by God's help and grace. And then I'm hoping that next year we are going maybe to try and introduce new concepts or new ways of doing this. So yeah, looking forward to do this. Looking forward to have you move to the next year with me. And let's see how it goes. All right. So I am grateful for you creating time to join this evening. And my desire has always been that we will be able to gain from the sessions, to become more informed, and also to carry the information that we get to help others, and also to, to become better versions of ourselves. And the best way to become a better version of yourself is by acquiring as much information as possible. Okay. I apologize for the many times maybe we've had hiccups here and there, for the maybe low quality sometimes, or sometimes I was disconnected. I think there are 2 sessions where we were disconnected as we were continuing the session, but thankfully we were able to go back and just continue from. And that's why I'm grateful for the friend who introduced me to StreamYard, because when I'm using StreamYard, I know you guys watch me live from YouTube, but then I'm using a platform called StreamYard. So StreamYard helps me even when there's a disconnection, I don't have to start again, or the session won't have lags, okay? Because sometimes it's out of my control, internet issues. All right. But yeah, I'm grateful for that. And then the posters, I'm still learning. I do them. We are growing, and in future probably we'll have recorded sessions in case it becomes overwhelming. Hey, I'm having a challenge with my slides. I'm trying to upload them, and I see a notification that please try again in a little while. I don't know why they don't want to be uploaded. Dear slides, please cooperate. Anywho, I was saying, yeah, I'm trying, I'm learning all these things. In future, I won't have to be jack of all trades. I hope that we'll have people that will be working with, and in future, I also hope that I'll have people join who are also mental health advocates. They join and we do this together. That would be so awesome. That you won't just be seeing Sarah. There'll be other people who've gone ahead of me, other people who are more informed, and we learn from each other, we grow with each other, networks and partnerships. So I'm looking forward to that. Meanwhile, as I start, but by the way, I told you guys that the session is 40 minutes. I've come to discover it's true. Mostly it takes 40 minutes, but due to such challenges, because I cannot upload a slide until I am live, and so you find such things take a little bit of time. In the past, I used to wait for people to join so that we can start. So you find that I waited for almost 20 minutes before people join. But nowadays, I've learned to just go right ahead. Wakunipata, they get us as we are continuing. And the good thing is, it's still here. You can still watch at your own time. Okay. And also, by the way, imagine the videos are downloadable. I listen to them myself. Okay. The other time I was in my YouTube account, and there's something there that's the most viewed channels. And I was glad I made it number 2 in my own account. Sami channel is more most viewed. Okay. Yeah, so you can download and then you can listen while you are working, while you are walking, while you are doing this or that. You can listen at your own time. So yeah. Hey, okay. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening to my slides. I wish I can just let me try and share my whole screen, hoping that will do. Or let me try and download. Let's try another way. Technology. Anyway, you can share in the chat box what has been your favorite session. Which one was the best? You can also what you learned, okay? In the sessions that we've had, which has been your best session, and you can also share what you've learned. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see that. I think for me, my best session was the one that we did an introduction on self-awareness. That must have been in Feb. Yeah, my best session was in Feb, where we talked about what is self-awareness. We talked about the aspects of self-awareness. We talked about mental health illnesses associated with self-awareness, and we called them personality disorders, and that's where we started to talk about cluster C. Yeah, so that one was an amazing, oh my god. I don't know what's happening from my end. If it completely refuses to present, I think I'll just present them, and then I'll share maybe a link on the comment section in case you need there. Because now I don't know what's this. It's just showing me wonders. I cannot even. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about my favorite session. Oh my. Okay. Well. This is challenging. I don't know how I'm going to. I think I'll just share my entire screen, and then yeah. Oh, awesome. It's requesting me to. Let me try again. We see. Yo. Share screen. Ooh, finally. I hope you can see, but you're going to forgive me because I'll share it this way. I know it's not present like in presentation mode, but yeah, this is it's just talk this if I will go. So yeah, December mental health awareness session. Today we are talking about the impact of self-awareness on our mental health. And specifically today, okay, this is the series we've been doing the whole of this year, the impact of self-awareness on mental health. I've done 10 episodes on that, impact of self-awareness on our mental health. So today we are going to conclude on this series talking about the self-awareness journey by yours truly. My name is Sarah Mutsami, psychotherapist by profession, but I'm here in the capacity of a mental health advocate, which I was certified last year, and an Innovation Foundation. All right. So let's go straight to the introduction. Self-awareness is the conscious knowledge of one's character, feelings, motives, and desires. Okay, self-awareness is the conscious knowledge, and we say that by conscious knowledge we mean that it's the, like, you're aware of your character, of your feelings. Character is, there's a quote that says character comes from behavior. Okay, behavior that is repeated over time. There's a quote, thoughts become actions, actions become habits, habits become character becomes personality. So yeah, so that's character. It comes from thoughts. Okay, so are you aware of your behavior? Okay, are you aware of your feelings? We say that feelings are our inward, it's our inner state. Our inner state, what we cannot see or we cannot, behavior I can see. I can see you are eating. I can see you are talking. You're overeating or you're over talking or you're under eating or you're under talking, whatever. Because behavior comes in both extremes. Okay, but which eventually becomes character, like I've said. But for feelings, it is you feeling. Sometimes, yes, it can be, that expression can be misinterpreted. You've seen people who are angry, and instead of throwing things at you or crying or laugh, so you look at that laughter, we will say that that person was happy. In real sense, they are angry. It's in one case. You cannot, it can be in different ways depending on an individual. Okay, so that's what I'm calling feelings. And then for motives, this is something I talked about in Fed's edition, which I told you was my best this year. When we're talking about motives, we're talking about why you do the things you do. Okay, why you do what you do, the reason behind you're behaving the behavior. Okay, and then there is desires. The desires are, in other words, you can call it intentions. Your intentions. So that's the self-awareness, conscious knowledge of your character, feelings, motives, and desires. And even today's this journey, to be looking at some of the characters that we have in this journey. It depends on the stage that you're in. Some of the characters, some of the feelings, some of the motives, where they come from, and some of the desires. We will be tackling in, you look at some of the feelings, character, motives, desires coming out. So according to philosophers like Sigmund Freud and Erik Erikson, a human being develops into different stages. So after you've completed the stage, you go into the next one. And mostly the success of stage 1 is what will cause the success of stage 2. Or failure of stage 1 is what causes the failure of stage 2. And unless there's an intervention in between, then there might be a challenge in an individual's development, okay? Or in the stages as we're going to look at it tonight, okay? They are called, so that Freud called it psychosexual stages of development. That means this guy, he said that our development is based on psychosexual, and he based it on the libido. But that's not what we're going to talk about, because he was talking about tension and pleasure. According to the libido, like when there's tension is when the libido is left unattended, and it's attended to, and it causes pleasure. And he talks about different stages of an individual from infancy to old age, of how these factors determine how they grow. Okay, how they grow. That's where things like Oedipus complex they came in. I'm sure you've had adult stage, okay, and such like things. That's where this came from, according to Sigmund Freud. So in your free time, you can Google, you can look into Sigmund Freud's what is it called? Stages, psychosexual stages of development. I'm going to psychosocial stages of development. He built from Sigmund Freud, okay? Alisoma theory, Sigmund Freud, and then that's when he was able now to come up with his own theory, trying to explain the stages of development. So why am I talking about stages of development today? Yet we would have thought, yeah, we are wondering how it would relate. I said that for success in mental health, if you want to have good mental health, it starts from what? Self-awareness. And that's why when I started these webinars, I started with self-awareness, because I am sure if we can be able to become self-aware as individuals, as a community, in my family, in my friends circle, in my workplace, in every place that I am in, where I do my interactions, if we can become self-aware, it's going to help us to boost our mental health. Okay, so the reason as to why I'm talking about this is because when we know our stage of development, where we are at and where there was a problem, because I have told you, if this stage is not what is it called, achieved properly, the next stage itakuwa na shida. It's the same thing. If you don't train your child to use a potty, what do you expect? They'll end up bedwetting for a long time. Okay. Nimeanguka kama ama nimeng'oa kama hii kitu yenye ilikuwa karibu kuanguka hapa. Yeah, so I'm trying to say that the stages of development, they come to help us to go into the next stage successfully, and that's where our self-awareness comes in, because you are aware that in this stage I was able to achieve this, or I was not able to achieve this. So how can I compensate for this? How can I work on this that I did not achieve? Because if I don't discover this character, where it came from, this feeling, how it came about, this motive and desires, how it came about in this particular stage, it's going to affect how I behave in the next stage. Okay, so if one is conscious of their character, motives, feelings, and desire during these stages, they may be healthy mentally, and thus this is now the definition of mental health, where it can help you to cope with the stresses of life, okay, relate well with others, be effective day-to-day life, and make an impact in your community, as you will see in the presentation. Okay, so the thing that we are going to talk about will be from 0 to death. Okay, and now the life cycle. Yeah, mostly we normally say it's from baby to child to teenager to adult to old age. Okay, 0 to 12 months. And then as a child, there is this stage between 1 to 3 years, okay, which is still childhood, but it's called the preschool. The preschool. It's the child stage. And then 4 to 6 years is what is called the preschool year, okay. Then the 7 to 12 years is the school year, okay. And then 13 to 19 is the teenager, all right? Not to say that they are not going to school, but now you see we normally, you know, such kind of a thing. Okay, to 6 is cool because now they are in like me now, when I was growing up, we used to call it baby, middle, top class. Uko bado it's still play group, okay, in some way. Although now you started doing some activities, like we'll see in the presentation, okay. But then now in 12 years, now that's where you started serious schoolwork. You have to start a language, to learn a new language probably in school. You have to do some tasks like mathematics tasks. You have to do like science tasks. You have to do like computer tasks. You have to go to swimming and learn there, although their parents will probably have taught their children all that. So there's a lot of learning happening in 7 to 12 years. And then now this is when they are fully into social interactions, okay? Between 0 to 6 years, they were still, concealed. And that's why, even for some parents, during this period, that's when they still stay with their kids. I have heard of parents who didn't take their children to any preschool until now they got to school. That's when they make them join grade 1, the grade school. And then now from 13 to 19 is what I've called teenagehood. And then in 20 to 40 years, what is called young adulthood. And then 41 to 60 years, that is what is called the middle adulthood. And then the 61 years onward is what is called late adulthood, or now, so those are the stages according to this theory. 0 to 12 is infancy, 1 to 3 is childhood, and then 4 to 6 is the preschool, 7 to 12 is school stage, and then 13 to is teenagehood, 20 to 14 is young adulthood, 21 to 60 is mid adulthood, and then 61 onwards is late adulthood. Now, in stage 1, we call it trust versus mistrust. Now, this is the journey now. It has begun of this individual. So this is between the 1 month to 12 months. And let me put it out that different people have different ways of categorizing these ages. Me, I don't know. When I've done my research, and even when I was studying, I saw different guys have talked about, because now like the others who talk about 1 month to 18 months, which I think it's just okay, because it depends. Development takes, it's different, but ideally this is what we are trying to talk about. So this stage, we call it trust versus mistrust, okay? And that's a feeling. It's sort of a feeling. It's sort of a desire. This child is dependent on the parents, especially the mother, to meet their needs, which are mostly food, shelter, and care. Okay? Shelter, nurturing, bathing them. That's the only need of this child. They just want to be cared for. And let me put this out here, because you've seen that this is dependent on the mother. The mother needs to have a lot of support during this time. Okay, so in case you know someone who has delivered, okay, who has a young child, maybe between 1 month, 1.5, and all that, 1.5 years, I would encourage us to offer all the support that we can, because as they are trying to meet the needs of the baby, mostly the mother's needs are unattended, whether it's with their husband, with the family. People would want them to, I was listening to a certain couple and they were saying, mtoto tu akilia hivi, mama, mama is the one who's called to take care of the baby, but what about the mother who's probably crying inside and wondering who is going to support her, because it's an overwhelming journey for her. So they need all the support that they can get. So trust. So I've said this stage is trust versus mistrust, and in every stage there's some form of self-awareness that comes about. And I want you to be very keen in terms of trust. If the baby receives the care they deserve, that is, the caregiver is reliable and nurturing, they end up feeling secure even when they are threatened, and extends into their other relationships. So if during this stage, between 1 month to 12 months, if the baby was well attended to, akilia mnamlisha, mnaangalia diaper, anapinduliwa kama alikuwa amelala, whatever the case, the baby starts now developing that sense of trust, okay? And even in the future, when they're faced with challenges, you'd find that they have some sense of security, okay? And not just even in the future, even in this time that I'm saying the mother should be taken care of, you'd find that this baby, hata akipeanwa kwa the dad or someone who has gone there to help the mom, and the mom is told go take a nap or go, the baby is secure enough even in another person's arm. It's because they have learned, psychologically they know that they are safe, so that in case I need something, when I ask for it, I'll be given, okay? But if the baby's caregiver is inconsistent and not nurturing, so I meant nurturing, not butchering, whatever that means, and not nurturing, the baby with a sense of insecurity, anxiety, and suspicion, okay? So the baby may end up with a sense of insecurity in terms of, if they feel angry, hey, now they are like, I know my okay, and so they get very anxious and restless, and they are a child. So you'd find even your child, probably they're crying most of the time. They might even start developing self complications in this young age. Can you imagine? So if during age the child is well taken care of, now this is the virtue that they will develop. That virtue is called hope. They will have hope. They will know that I know that this world is, I know that I am okay. I know that my needs will always be met. Okay, and so they start having excitement for the world. They are ready for the next day. They are ready for the future. Can you imagine it? It's a 1 month old baby, or it's a 1 month to a 12 month baby, and they already have that notion about the world. So that you bring up a very happy child, a very positive child. Basically, there needs to be a balance. I don't mean that you have become overcautious with a child. Times can be. My mom normally says, and I think I've said it one time during these sessions, I hope we are together. I really hope so, because now even the way I'm presenting my slides, I cannot see the screen. Normally, the other times I can, and I don't know if there is a challenge. So I hope that we are together. Anyway, yeah, so there has to be a balance between trust and mistrust. Okay. Now let's go to the next stage. That's stage 2. Stage 2 is called autonomy versus shame. So this is between 3 years. Now this child has sat. They are now learning to walk. Okay. They are learning now to eat some serious meals. Okay. They are not just breastfeeding and Yeah, they've now started taking some serious meals, so they are trying to feed properly, they're trying to walk and play. Yeah, they're trying things, they're trying to talk. This is where the dads are called first, and it's the mom who was there with this child day in, day out, but the dad is called first. Parents, I hear you. Anywho, so the baby now tries to do things on their own and is not completely relying on the parents to do things. They need support in their pursuit for independence. So, like I have said, the baby is now trying to, to take initiative. Okay, so they can try to walk, so they really need that support as they are trying to learn to walk, because now they've started seeing people and they're realizing, okay, people are walking on their 2 feet, they're not being carried around like I normally am, so let me try. Okay, they're trying to stand, and so you'd find they'll start standing, they'll start walking while holding on to objects or to their parents, and then kidogo kidogo now they start walking on their own, but they are walking as they are falling. Okay, and so it's very important that during this period they get all the encouragement that they need and all the support. So in autonomy, if the child is allowed to try things on their own, like using the potty, eating, walking, they may end up more confident and secure in their ability to survive. Remember, in the first stage, they have started becoming hopeful about the world. And now, and gaining a sense of security. This stage is what will rubber stamp the security. Now they end up being very sick. They are like, yeah, this is it. I am okay. I can survive. Kumbe, I can even survive on my own. It's not a must I have mommy and daddy to help me. Kumbe, I can walk on my own. Oh wow, I can eat. I don't just have to use the breast milk. So they start learning to survive, and this helps them become comfortable in making decisions and helping them gain self-control. Okay. However, if a child is mocked and over-controlled every time they try doing things on their own, they end up feeling ashamed or having doubts in their abilities, which may affect their self-control. Okay. So anytime they try walking on their own and they fall, they are scolded. What are you thinking? Where are you going? Why can't you stay in one place? And all those kind of things. You might think this is a very young child, there is nothing, but they are getting it. Okay, they are getting it. And so they start feeling ashamed or having doubts. And mind you, also this shame could have come from the previous stage when there was mistrust, when they had a parent who was inconsistent. Okay, and that made them probably feel, oh, I'm not safe, so my needs will not be met. And so they come into this new stage and they are not taking initiative, they are not trying to use the potty, they're just there, that because in the previous stage they were not attained. So what is not achieved in this stage is will. By the way, I forgot to tell you that psychosocial, when we're talking about psychosocial stages of development, psycho means the mind. I mean, at first it started by saying psycho means the soul. Okay, according to Greek, the psycho means soul. Soul is the mind, will, and emotion. Later is when it was redefined to mean mind. But at first kabisa, when psychology was being defined, psycho meant the soul. Okay, there was the human soul, the animal soul, the vegetative soul, and all those kind of things. But now, when we are talking about psycho, which is the mind, it means the mind, will, and emotions. Okay, so the virtue achieved here is will. Okay, the child starts developing will. They can do things. They become confident in their ability to survive on their own in the world. If they were not properly encouraged, they end up having low self-esteem and lack of self-control. So, for instance, if you are a good parent when the child was 1 month to around 12 months, you were there for the child. Fine. They developed security and trust, okay, and hope. But now you've come to this stage and you've relaxed. Probably not your fault. You had to go back to work and all those kind of things. And now you left the child to someone who brought a lot of shame to them when they were trying to do things. This child may end up having low self-esteem and lack of self-control. So why am I talking of lack of self-control? For instance, at these stages when a child knows I'm not supposed to pee on myself, I can go to the loo, I can use the potty, or I can tell my nanny or my mother that I am pressed and I need to use the washroom. But if you did not help this child to know that they can ask for help, number one. Number two, if you do not help this child to know that they can make mistakes sometimes, probably they were playing and they forgot and they peed on themselves and they didn't have a diaper on. Instead of correcting them with love, you shouted at them. Next time, they'll not have that self-control. So the next time that they pee on themselves, what do? They try to hide. Okay, so that's when you find children, they don't want to come back home and you wonder what's the problem. I left this child to go play, how comes they've not come back for lunch? That's where the problem starts, because they were not able to control themselves. They have low self-esteem issues, and now you've now started developing major problems with this child. Now not coming home for lunch has brought another problem again, so you really need to be careful on how you handle a child in this stage. As I'm talking of a child, remember I'm talking about you as well, because all of us were once children, even me. So could it be that when I was young, this stage I did not develop well. Instead, I had a lot of shame. And that's why probably I now have self-control issues. I now have low self-esteem. Now, the third stage is initiative versus guilt. So this is between the ages of 3 years to 6 years, which I call preschool. At this stage now, the child is trying to make initiative to do more complex tasks, like riding bicycles, playing football, cooking, writing, drawing, coloring, counting, etc. So they need support whether they do it successfully or not, because they are trying. Okay, they're not experts. If it's riding a bicycle, they are still trying. They might fall. If it's cooking doesn't mean they're in the kitchen. Probably for girls, we used to call it cha baba and cha mama. What is it called? I don't know the other name that you guys call it. We used to play that one. And I remember my neighbor, when she was cooking chapati, she used to call us and cut a piece of dough and tell us, go and make your chapatis. So as she's making the serious chapatis, as we are out there making our own chapatis with our small families. I don't know, maybe who was my husband, or whether I was the child, or whether I was the mother, I cannot recall. So they are trying to make to put in some effort to draw, probably. That's when the skill is coming. For some, it's singing. Now they've learned to talk, and now they're even trying to sing. They're trying to play an instrument. You've seen nowadays on social media, there's a child who's barely 4 years who is singing her heart out, her lungs out. We've seen another boy who's playing drums, and they're just young kids. Another one is playing another instrument. This is the stage. They are not taking initiative. And like I said, they need support, successful or not. They might say that I want to ride the bike from here to somewhere where it's almost 1 kilometer. And in the end, they don't end up reaching that place. They fall, something like that. How you respond as a caregiver or as a parent will determine whether this child will try this thing again, or they'll dwell on that feeling of guilt, because naturally this child will be guilty when they try doing this thing and they don't achieve. For instance, they wanted to try to sing a song and they were so bold about it, and so they come here and, yeah, I want to present a song before you guys. Maybe it's in your family, you're just having a meal or you're just relaxing, and as they're trying to sing the song, they forget part of the lyrics, so the song completely disappears. How you respond in such a case really matters. How you respond when they try cooking that kalongolongo game, whatever it's called. How you respond when they make those meals and they come and they share with you, really matters. How they try to apply makeup, because that's also another thing that they can learn at this stage. How you respond to how they're coloring in their coloring book. You start shouting at them, why are you coloring outside the lines? Why aren't you counting? Because remember also, they started going to preschool, and now they are learning things like counting. Okay, they are learning to color, they are learning to write. Somehow their handwriting is moving from here to down, and it's only 2 letters, and it has filled a full page. Okay, so how you're responding to that matters. So you should learn to encourage their initiative. Okay, as they are planning tasks, because they'll tell you, Mom, I plan to do this, Mom, I plan. So as they are planning to, and as they're executing the tasks, you need to encourage them. And also when there's a challenge, you have to teach them to learn from the challenges that they encountered. Okay, like I said, naturally there'll be some form of guilt when a child fails to achieve an activity or task. But if the child is not able to plan activities and is mocked when they don't achieve a task, they start feeling guilty and lack initiative. Or you start telling them, you see, even your brother or your sister, you see even the neighbor's child, why can't you do that? Or even you might be talking to your friends and the child is overhearing you, and your friend probably tells you, hey, my child sings, my child is playing an instrument, my child is riding the bike. And now you say, mine, there's nothing she can do, or she does, she does, she do that. Don't do that, because you're killing their purpose. Can you imagine? Purpose starts developing between 3 to 6 years. If the child is encouraged, they now have the ability to make plans for activities, even have the confidence to influence others to join them. They may also get to learn from their mistakes and ask a lot of questions. So this is the stage where questions are really asked, okay? And then in stage 4, there is industry versus inferiority, okay? And so they've started going to school now. They are interacting with peers on a very serious note. And now you see their comprehension is, you cannot lie to this child now. They know when they've not performed well. They know when other kids are doing well and they are not, okay? And so it's very important that at this stage, they get encouraged by their parents and teachers to start using the skills that they learned. You remember now they have learned some skills, social skills, they have learned to interact with people at least, they have learned the languages, they have learned some physical skills like walking, cycling, and all those things. And now nowadays they've used those skills to succeed. Okay, now this is the stage where the child is taught to be industrious. So the child is encouraged to use their skills to do tasks and work with others. They start getting confidence and believing they can do it. But in inferiority, the child is criticized and not allowed to demonstrate their skills, and they lack confidence and they start feeling inferior to their peers, leading to a sense of inadequacy. Because now they wonder, okay, how comes this other one is understanding? We were just given an assignment and they've already completed within a few minutes. And me, I'm not grasping anything. And so they're starting to feel inferior. And now you'd find some teachers, they start isolating this child or comparing them or telling them A, B, C, and D. And now this will kill the virtue that was supposed to be achieved at this stage, is competency. Okay? Competency means that you can do a certain task well. Okay, and now competency is not just about achieving 100%. It's also about, at least you tried. Okay, at least you're making an effort. I've not given a task and you've started crying. I've not given a task and you've not touched it, but at least you tried. At least you wrote those letters even though they were going to the other side. Or at least even in the field, as much as I said run 3 laps, you've run 1. That's initiative. Like, you are appreciating that child for what they've tried to do. And so competency starts by that, because now in this stage, parents and teachers need to learn to reinforce positive behavior. okay, and to responsibly deal with negative behavior. This is not the stage to be shouting at kids and beating them up, because it's not going to help. Trust you me, it's not going to help. What it's going to do is just going to make this child learn that I cannot do anything, so I'd rather not even try. And so you've started killing their industry, okay? You started killing their competency. And now these are the things that we now start seeing in adulthood. You wonder, this person, I've given them a task and they cannot do it, even if it's a simple task. You never know. They're reliving their childhood. They're still feeling inadequate. They're feeling, I should not do it. You know, the way we get anxious when you don't know how to do something. Like me, there are tasks. When I don't know how to do them, I end up postponing, which is something that I discovered some years back in therapy. And I learned that mostly I procrastinate when I don't know how to do a certain task. But now, when I get the expertise and I know how to go about that task, I gain the confidence and I want to get rid of it immediately, and I have that confidence. So you really need to take care how you deal with the child at this stage, okay? Success of this leads to competence, while its failure leads to inferiority. Okay, then we go to the next stage, which is stage 5, identity versus role confusion. Now, the child is a teenager between 13 to 19 years. They start exploring their personal values, are now able to and with mentors, family, relationships to align to. If not, they end up being unsure of their place in the world, and they face identity crisis. And let me tell you something. A lot of parents, when they're told the child and they are a teenager, they panic. Hey, I cannot let them be. That's how they get lost. Let me tell you, parent, if you took advantage of, there's a course I attended in 2020 that was saying window 4, if advantage of the stages that we have just done. Not just 4 to 14 years, but also from infancy to the previous stage that we've done, which is stage 4, which I talked about industry versus purity. Okay, and now your has gained they have gained past, they have gained will, they have gained competency. Trust you me, even if right now you their personal beliefs, values, and wrong, they'll just add a few things, because be told our children cannot be the same as us. Haiwezekani. Your child will be, and you should be ashamed of yourself as a parent if you're looking forward to your child turning out as you. Are you proud of yourself 100%? Child should be a of who you are, okay? They've taken your strengths, they've looked at them, and they're trying now to become a better version of who you are. A better version of who you are. And I think this is the mentality that is affecting most of the young people in our generation. And it's not just as in parenthood, but you'd find it like over in churches, you'd find it in career, in the offices, because people want us to be like them, okay? Or we want people to be like us, yet in real sense, they cannot be like us. Why not give them the liberty? You've already shown them the way to walk into. Why don't you have the confidence that they can use the information that you gave them, the training that you gave them, and become better? They can use it to become better, actually, and achieve more than you already have. You like your child to achieve the that you have. Now, because me, I'm worth, let's say, 100 million. I also want my child to be 100 million, like worth, their net worth, because that's what you are trying to achieve when you're forcing a child to become. I am saying, if you took advantage of the stage between of the previous stages that we've done, right now, as you're releasing your child to the world to come out with their own goals, with their own careers, with their own role models, you don't need to be afraid. They will not deviate. They will not it will be just a build up of who you are, but in now another form. Okay, another form. It's the same way water, we are told it's in 3 states. At the end of the day, it's water, but there is solid water, which is ice, there is liquid water, okay, and there is the other one that I forget. So you really need to encourage your child to explore their values, beliefs, and so that they can be able to be independent and have control of their lives. But if you pressure them to stick to your beliefs and goals, they end up confused and conflicted, and they also end up seeing the world as in they wonder. They wonder, I don't fit into the world. I am not in the right place. And now this is where depression and anxiety manifests. You remember in January when I was talking about some of the signs, I talked about some that manifest during childhood, and I talked about ASD, which is autism. I talked about ADHD. I talked about which other one did I talk about that manifests during childhood? But then I talked about adolescenthood. The ones that manifest are like depression and anxiety. It mostly starts in this stage. And mostly because of such cases, role confusion. The child is being pressured. And so they cannot achieve fidelity. Fidelity means they are able to accept others' opinions, but they also have their own path to take. So they don't disrespect you because you're different from what they want, okay? You're different from my faith, you're different from the family I want to have, or the family I come from, you're different from my role models. I respect that and I respect you for that. However, I have this path that me I'm chasing and I'm comfortable with it, okay? And that's the virtue that they are supposed to achieve at this time. And so maybe I should stop blaming the parents and the authority figures that we have, because probably they did not achieve fidelity because they were pressured into achieving what their parents wanted for them. So they have come to force the people who came after achieve. And there's a disclaimer I've put here. If pressured, they may end up rebellious, unhappy, and even gain a negative identity. So they will align to what you want, but in real sense, that's not who they are, that's not what they wanted. And so they end up being unhappy children and adults, that is leading them to adulthood. And then intimacy versus isolation. Between the ages of 20 to 40 years, it is centered on forming intimate, loving relationships with other people. Okay? So yeah, this is the stage. This is the stage. You've now become a youth and a young adult. Okay? Mostly we categorize that stage between 20 to around 24 years or 25 years as youths now. And then now, from 25 now, people are becoming, or 24 people are just young adults, the young adults, to all the way to 40 years. And this is the thing: intimacy versus isolation. People are trying to form close bonds and get comfortable with mutual dependency. That's intimacy. Okay, ability to be open and share themselves with others, as well as the willingness to commit to relationships and make personal sacrifices for the sake of relationships. Because love, we were told, there's a lady I was listening to. She leads me in a certain, and she leads me somewhere, and she was saying that love, if you don't know about love, one thing about love is giving and giving and giving and giving. Don't have the mentality of taking. And so when I saw this, and make personal sacrifices for the sake of these relationships, that shows that someone who has successfully achieved stage intimacy, able to commit to relationships. But if they are unable to form meaningful, intimate relationships with others, individuals, as they end up inability to form meaningful, intimate relationships with others, individuals struggle. Isolation is inability to form meaningful and intimate relationships with others. Individuals struggle to form, now individuals who are not successful in this stage, they struggle to form these close relationships, perhaps due to early unresolved issues. They don't have trust, they don't have security, they don't have purpose, they don't have will, they are not aware of who they are, they have identity. So how do you expect them to commit to a relationship or to have love? Okay, so they end up isolated. So the virtue achieved in this stage is love. Individuals who develop this virtue have the ability to form deep and committed relationships based on mutual trust and respect. Those who struggle may feel alone and could lead to disconnection. This is self-explanatory. I know most of us are in this stage and we can see where the problem started. Okay. And then we'll go to the second stage. As I conclude, this stage is called generativity versus stagnation. It's between the ages of 14 to 60 years. Individuals may focus on building, individuals focus more on building their lives through careers, family, and contributions to society. But then let me say something. I know we're in a generation where people are made to, to start achieving things early. It's not bad, and it's not good, because your motive most likely is not right as you are trying to achieve certain things. Because I'm not saying that this theory is accurate and that's how things should be, no, but in real sense, the truth is, when you're in this stage and you're trying to build your career, you're trying to build your family in this stage, it has more impact and more meaning than it is when you are trying to do it when you are 21 years old. There'll be a lot of corruption involved, a lot of, lack of empathy involved. That time you're struggling, so you're really trying to prove a point to build your life, to become stable, yet you don't have the capacity to handle the stability you're looking forward to, or you don't even have the reason to do that. But now when you come to this stage, it's when now the individual is able to have concern for others and desire to contribute to future generations. That is what I'm trying to say. When you are in this stage, it's for you. But now when you're doing this, your mind is more thinking, I now have 2 children, I now have 5 children. How am I going to lead how are their lives going to be after I'm gone, or during the stage that, because now you're heading to stage 8, which is your retirement stage, and your children maybe will still be growing and in the university and all that. And now you're wondering, how am I going to make an impact, or how am I going to raise my children in such a way that they can also make an impact in the society? Okay. And so this they desire to contribute to future generations, often through parenting, mentoring, leadership roles, or creative output that adds value to the society. But an individual who's stagnated in this stage, or an individual who's not successful in this stage, they feel they are not making a positive impact or are not involved in productive or creative tasks. Okay, individuals feeling unproductive and uninvolved, it leads to self-absorption, lack of growth, and feelings of emptiness. So you might have been successful in all the 6 stages, but then you reach on this 7th stage, and for some reason, okay, probably your career didn't peak as you hoped, probably your family failed, and now you end up feeling empty and lack of growth because a certain thing was not achieved as you had hoped. But remember, if you, while you are growing up, you are successful in the previous stages, you will be able to pick yourself up because you are self-aware. You are self-aware, you've developed purpose, you've developed will, you've developed hope, and so now, even when things are not working as you had hoped, you still are able to develop the virtue of care, because this virtue, the virtue developed in this stage is care. Individuals who develop this virtue feel a sense of contribution to the world through family and work, and feel satisfied that they're making a difference. Those who don't have shallow involvement in the world. So care, care. So you are happy that you're making an impact, or you'll make an impact even if things are not working out now. Okay. But those who don't, they end up feeling, I didn't contribute to this world. Why on earth am I here? I have no, and all that. Then stage 8, which is the last stage, it's ego integrity versus despair. So this is the between the ages of 61 to death. Individuals contemplate their accomplishments and can develop integrity if they see themselves as leading a successful life. So they start thinking, have I accomplished what I wanted? Have I made an impact in this world? Okay. And so that will make them have it inaitwa ego integrity. So ego integrity is characterized by a sense of acceptance of life as it was. Okay. You accept the way life went, had ups and downs, the victory, truly enjoy them. Okay. Now coherence and purpose in your experiences, and a sense of wisdom and fulfillment. And you're even looking forward to resting. An individual who is in despair, they feel regretful about their past, like they have made poor decisions or believe they have failed to achieve life goals, and may experience these feelings of regret, bitterness, and disappointment with one's life. And also, they even fear death. Okay? Because they don't want to die. They wonder, I'm dying. What have I left behind? I wish I could have more years. And also, for some, they wonder, if I die, where am I going, or what is going to happen after that? Okay? So, yeah. The virtue achieved here is wisdom, which enables someone to look back on their lives with a sense of closure and completeness, and also accept death without fear. Individuals who reflect on their lives and regret not achieving their goals will experience bitterness and despair. These are the guys who are very grumpy. You know, those old people who you can't stand them because they are bitter, toxic. Probably the problem is they're in a state of despair. Now, for people who say they don't see meaning in therapy, today I've attacked you directly. And I hope that your eyes are enlightened. And I also hope that we will be able to go back and correct the messages done to us, because we might have not known. And also, I'm really hopeful that from now henceforth, we are going to become better individuals. We have nephews and nieces, we have children. One, at some point, will also be parents and grandparents. Could we please be careful with how we handle our children? Because as we do that, we are helping them become self-aware. We are looking after their character, okay? We are looking after their desires, like what we have seen in stage identity versus role confusion. This child has now developed their own personal beliefs and they have their own goals. Okay, we are looking into their motives. Like what we talked about, initiative versus guilt. They are making initiative, they're having some form of a motive. They want to prove that I have independence over my life. I don't have to be dependent the rest of my life. That child is being trained to become self-aware, to have a strong sense of self-awareness. But if we are having kimaembe maembe, as we used to say, we were growing, then there will be a problem. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Joy. I'm so glad that you're here. You can share the link with others. I've also enjoyed today's session, so I've added it on my favorites. Feb was my favorite, but today I've added this session. Okay, so I really hope that you've enjoyed the session. You can write on the comment section this year which was your best session. What have you learned? Okay, and we look forward to the next one, God willing. Thank you so much for the support through the year. I'm looking forward to future engagements, successful engagements, as God will enable us. Otherwise, have a lovely night. You can share this link with as many people as possible. Wakuja wa learn, and I am sorry about the hiccups tonight. Okay, I'm not sure how I was looking during the presentation because my slides zilikata tu kuandika kwa the platform that I am using, and so I just had to improvise and use the other whatever. And so yeah, it is well. Have a lovely night. Bye.